Yo. Howdy, James. Howdy, Emily. Say hello to the air conditioner. We'll see what happens. We're still in air conditioner season, unfortunately. And people say back off the mic a little bit. Let me know. The reason I'm always like neurotic about this is I keep changing the level, right? So I make a video and maybe I'm not quite happy with the sound, or I show up like tonight and I'm all we've got the allergies going and I feel like I need to tone it down. So I keep just fidgeting with the levels and I need to just stop being neurotic. So that's why I keep bringing it up. But I'm gonna start actually. We'll get to we'll do our normal thing. We'll kind of cover the video for the week, and anything that maybe didn't quite make it into the video that needs further discussion, questions from you all that might need further clarification. If I can be of help, great. And just some future thoughts, future plans. Things have kind of slowed down for me a little bit. It's like in my mind, I feel like I can do a lot more than I actually can. So bear with me. Revelation 5 through 6. And this is, John, he's got this vision. He's actually seeing through, in my opinion, it seems like he's in the temple and he's sort of looking through into the Holy of Holies. And I saw on the right hand of him who sat on the throne a book written inside and on the back, sealed with 7 seals. Book maybe is not a great translation. Scroll, maybe. Book, maybe. I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the book and to break its seals?" And no one in heaven or on earth or under the earth was able to open the book or look into it. And I began to weep greatly because no one was found worthy to open the book or to look into it. I think this becomes a theme for us. Who is worthy? And do we have a vision? Do we have a view of God? Do we have a view of the Messiah that's worthy of him? And one of the elders, this is where it gets important. And one of the elders said to me, "Stop weeping. Behold, the Lion that is from the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has overcome so as to open the book and its 7 seals. And I saw between the throne with the 4 living creatures and the elders a lamb, standing as if slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent out into all the earth." Now that's perking my... I didn't talk about that at all, really, in this video. But previously in the book of Revelation, towards the end of chapter 1, the 7 spirits of God, or the 7 spirits that light the lamp. This is Revelation 4:5. So in Revelation 1, you see the lamp. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Scrolling is probably annoying. You see the lampstand. So the lampstand, but the lampstand is not on fire. It's not burning. It's just the lampstand. And then you have the lamps, the wicks, the fires, the 7 lamps. They're burning now. I talked about this in previous live streams, I think, which are the 7 spirits of God. 7 spirits of God correspond, I think, to the 7 churches. So the 7 churches, 7 lampstands, 7 burning fires, 7 spirits of God. I don't think God has 7 spirits. I think it's the Spirit of God as the Spirit moves in these 7 churches. Now, it's interesting that when we pick it up in verse 5, sent out into all the earth, that actually comes into this whole conversation of Messiah, son of Joseph, the northern kingdom, and the tribe of Ephraim. Maybe. maybe. But it's interesting to me, even more so, that John is told, behold, it says, look, behold, to hold with your eyes, right? I did this with our students at our youth group, so you get to participate with us. Look, the lion that is from the tribe of Judah, the root of David. So the king, the Messiah, son of David, right? So here we are. Yeah, and Jacob and David had a really interesting conversation. Did they? No, I guess they didn't touch. They must have touched on Zechariah. I think I was reading. I was listening to Michael Heiser's commentary on this, and he was referencing the Zechariah stuff. When you're told to look for a lion, you expect to see a lion. When you're told to look for a lion, you expect to see a lion. But John is not surprised that what he sees is a lamb. What you do with that? It's, he doesn't look at the lamb. He doesn't say, "Oh, okay, so behold, look, the lion of the tribe of Judah, behold." And I saw between the throne and the elders a lamb standing as if slain. We could do more with that. And it doesn't say, and I continued to look for the lion that was missing. I continued to search for the missing lion. I saw the lamb, but wondered, where is the lion? He sees the lamb and fully understands that the lamb is the lion. And that, of course, takes us to this whole thing of the Messiah that maybe we, and when I say we, I guess I think of everyone. I include myself in this conversation as a Christian person, and I say, I don't know that we as Christians have done a good enough job of having a view of the Messiah that is worthy of him. And that would probably be true of everyone else. We miss it. We're missing, I don't know. And of course, that's a hard thing to say. How right do you have to be? And so when I made this video, my desire was to explore a topic that needed exploring, at least for my own faith, and understand what I believe more clearly. I had heard, it's very common for Christians to talk about Joseph as a type of Christ, maybe as a foreshadowing, and I think that's true. But I also wonder if Joseph is a prophetic figure of the Messiah that we should be looking for. And so there's more to the story than at least I have come into contact with so far in my 20 or so years of my Christian journey. I didn't grow up in the church. I wasn't raised in a Christian environment or a Christian culture. And I go back to literally the first video that I ever posted on this channel, which was essentially dealing with A.W. Tozer's work and the fact that what comes into our mind is this one here. What comes into our mind when we think about God is the most important thing about us. And what Tozer points out is that our view of God is often not worthy of him, or almost like, that's why we need God to reveal himself to us. And then we spend our time refining and reforming our view of God and rejecting those things that we believe that are not worthy of the God who is actually there. And so that's why I posted this video. I want to continue to understand my own beliefs, but I also want to generate conversation. And so that's why I began the video with some sort of a recap of where I was with Jacob on his channel, and I guess originally with David, and the conversations that I had with him. I mean, they all kind of led to one another, and my hope would be that we continue to have good conversation. I think it might be difficult on a platform where I hope YouTube understands this. I hope YouTube catches up with this, but you don't have to be an expert. Joe Rogan's not an expert. Tucker Carlson's not an expert. All these other, Russel Brand is not an expert, but they are people who generate conversation. They're curious, and so they generate conversation, and that I would hope is something that I could do with my channel. I hope that I could provoke more conversation, and so that's why I made the video. I have a request. I think that this was good. I'm about an hour into the Jacob and David conversation, and I wonder if David would be willing, and maybe if Yosef would be willing to do a follow-up. As I've engaged with people in and around this little corner, in and around this conversation about this sort of Joseph-like prophetic Messiah figure who is rejected by his brothers, thrown into a pit, interestingly saves Egypt before he saves his brothers, before he saves Israel, marries a Gentile bride, which I find interesting, has two mixed-race children, and those children hold half of a double blessing. I think all of that is important. All of that story is important. I think that there's a lot of themes that we could pick up here that involve sort of two well, actually, I'll get to some comments here in a second, but I think I started my video with saying we have maybe two halves of the same vision. I don't know if that's right, though. Maybe that's me being too Protestant, but how's everybody doing? How's everybody hanging in there? I'm gonna gather my thoughts here for a second. That's what I thought. Oh, so I was gonna say, I wonder if Yosef and David would want to do a follow-up. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think on that. I found Yosef to be a helpful person to have this conversation with. So I guess that takes me maybe to some of the comments of the video. And then we'll work our way through. If you have questions, please let me know. Again, I'll do my best. I don't know, I want to say like something like, I'm no expert, but I guess I have studied this stuff. I mean, I feel very young, and I think that's okay. Maybe that's part of the process. Yeah, the blessings from Joseph, Judah, Manasseh, Ephraim, they all work together. It's interesting, too, if you follow the Joseph story through, um, now I'm going to get it messed up. Maybe it's Manasseh to Joshua, the son of Nun. Yeah, shout out to Yosef. Yeah, you're getting love. You're getting love in the chat there, Yosef. Yeah, and I'll get to his comments here. He left some comments here recently on the video, so I'm glad he's checking it out, because there's some stuff from David Mitchell that I left in the video without really commenting on them. And I sort of left it as sort of this is from David Mitchell, and it's not, particularly when it comes to sort of the rabbinic tradition. That is an area that I have not really studied. And so I leave it to other people to carry on that part of the conversation. My part of the conversation is more interested in the biblical theme there, following the biblical theme. But yeah, I'll get to some of these comments. So, following Joseph through to Joshua, I thought was interesting, which is why I eventually went to the book of Revelation. And I think, for me, from my perspective, that's a clue that we have a full story, a story that holds together, and a story that endures, a story that is more all-encompassing than, well, again, just maybe one half of the story, one side of it, and so yeah, okay. Here's one funny thing. Well, let me see. Where do I go with it? In this video, I don't understand. Let me see if I can get to it. Jacob shows David that he left a comment on my video. I don't see. I see one comment that Jacob left, and I don't see the second. So I don't know if YouTube is doing funniness. I don't know why. So look at this. So sorry if oh my gosh, I'm sorry if the quality is horrible. But that is what it is. So Jacob and David are talking, and I see this. He leaves this. Allow me to tell you one of my favorite jokes. Why did God create Mormons? So that Christians would understand how Jews feel. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Now I get to see McMo's. Okay, I don't see this other comment. This is what's weird. And my wife got onto my channel too, and she doesn't see it. But Jacob points out. He said that this is a more spicy comment. I don't see it on my end, which is really I'm on that video right now. I see his joke about Mormonism. That other comment is not here, and so something weird is happening with this video, where YouTube is telling me I have all these comments, but I don't know where they are. And I've looked in the back end. I've looked in the comments that are held for review, which does happen sometimes. They're not there. They're not there. So Jacob, I don't know what to tell you, man. YouTube's not showing me. YouTube's not showing me your comment here. I wish I could see it. I don't know how to find it. It looks like McMo even responded to it. So it's obviously live, and yet you can see my channel, may often make the mistake. Maybe it'll show up. So there's, okay. I got some comments from Yosef. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that on the fly, but look, no, that's it. That's all I have. There's no other comments. Right? You guys are seeing what I'm seeing. YouTube is not showing me all of the comments for this video. It says I have 32 comments. Some of those are Yosef, which is just recent. I'm throwing up my hands here. And when I go in the back end, they're not there either. They're not comments that are held for review. They're obviously not, because McMo commented on Jacob's. Look, you can see McMo right here. I know the quality is really, really not great, but it's there, and I can't see it, so I don't know what the story is with that. Yeah, sort from newest to oldest. I sort by. They're weird. So Emily gives me the hack. Why did that change things? Oh, weird. So I just had it on top comments. You would think that if it's got a comment, that is so weird. Thank you, Emily. I feel kind of dumb. But thank you. Well, of course, I'm sort of a conspiracy theorist, so I'd go to the conspiracy first. All right. I may have to deal with Yosef and sort of, I won't be able to respond. Yosef's a very smart person, and I'm really glad he's engaging with this because, like I said, the rabbinic tradition is not something I have. That's not where I'm not gonna speak from that perspective. I'm gonna speak from sort of the biblical perspective. So I'm gonna rely on other people to speak on the rabbinic sources. Okay, sorry, I'm going to read this one comment because it seems... I watched the video. This is chat about. If you don't mind, my last comment was about what I was thinking. Then I would like to add a few more. Okay. So James, I'm going to look for James's... I don't, see... Am I... Oh, your last comment here live. Manasseh, Judah, and Joseph, blessing all work together. Okay. So James, you want to develop that idea a little bit more? So the idea of the Manasseh, Judah, Joseph blessings all work together. Hit us up, man. Right, because Judah, and that was kind of my point at the beginning of this, is that we kind of, and when I say we, I mean like Christians seem like they want to emphasize the son of David aspect of Jesus as the Messiah, son of David, which would be from Judah. And so with that, it's like, okay, and I said this in the beginning of the video, like Jacob's got a point. It's like, where's the king then? Like, how come things are, not the way they should be? I'm assuming that was kind of what his comment was. And yet, can we see the lion? Can we see the lamb and know that he is the lion? So the lamb would be more the Joseph innocent sacrifice, the Messiah who is innocent and is sacrificed, and then it becomes a blessing and saves his family. And to Warren Gage's point, this really does tie all the way to the book of Revelation, where there's this group hug. I thought that was a great image, that there's a group hug. So yeah, let us know, James, what else you want to say about that. Because I wonder if maybe one of the problems we're having is that, and Jacob even said this to David, is that, we're not talking about one person who is the Messiah, son of David, one person who's both the Messiah, son of David, and son of Joseph, but we're talking about two separate people. That was kind of his thought about that. Maybe I can find that clip, but Brain Sturgeon, yo, welcome. How's everybody doing? Just let me know how you're doing. I don't, again, I'm no pro here, and sometimes I still fail to see who's in chat, who's around, who's hanging out. So, okay, actually, before I go into some of these comments, and then I'll carve through some other stuff because I don't want to get too bogged down. Here's what's crazy about this video. Not only was I weirded out by the comments being sorted weird. Thank you, Emily, for that. I'm just having a boomer moment. But this video that I posted is the most unliked video that I have ever had on YouTube. So there you go. You guys are witnessing history. History in the making. Officially the most unliked video I have ever posted. So if you want to go over, if you don't like it, I'm not asking you to like it, but just leave me a comment and let me know why you didn't like it, okay? And you could probably pop it open in a separate window. You could probably take a look at it. And if you watched it, and you happened to like it, go ahead and bump that like button, because this one's getting destroyed. I think my most, I was gonna take a look at it, and then I decided not to, and now I'm back. So forgive me for having a little bit of an ADD moment, but I do actually have notes, so don't worry. We're gonna be back in just a second. We'll be back to reality. How do I see this? Content, likes versus dislikes. This video currently has 10 likes and 5 dislikes, so it's 66%. And you can see, I think it doesn't really matter if I share this. I don't know. I feel weird sharing the screen, but I've got videos that have 91. I've got videos that have 100% likes. Actually, quite a few of those. Cool. Thanks, guys. 90, 97, 95, 90. 90 is the lowest one recently. A couple of 90s. Okay, I got an 89. Oh, man. Kale, I'm sorry, but the 89 was our Magic in the Gospel of Harry Potter video. Sorry about that. I do have an 82, but it's like a short video. I've got mostly hundreds, 93s, 94s, 95s, and this video has got a 66% like to dislike ratio. It is getting ratioed, I guess. Okay. To Yosef's point, I appreciate Yosef being here. So Michael, David C. Mitchell, way overstates how frequently, and the range of text Messiah ben Yosef appears in. Now, so here's what I'll say, and I don't know that I think if you guys were to listen to me read these, it would be kind of annoying. Maybe I'll try. I'll see how much. Oh gosh, I'm not even. See if the dyslexia gets in my way, but they do appear, right? Yosef, is what you're saying. They do appear. There is engagement with this idea of Messiah ben Yosef. But you're saying David C. Mitchell exaggerates the frequency. Now, my thought is you don't expect to see them at all. You don't expect to see rabbis talking about a Messiah who would be like Joseph, betrayed, die, or suffer, and then save his people, right? Because that sounds so much like Jesus. And one of the things that David Mitchell points out, and I wasn't able to clip it, but is why would rabbis, one, reject Jesus if they understood this Joseph motif, or kind of, I guess to make it a little bit stronger, what I'm saying is he embodies sort of this prophetic foretelling of what the Messiah is going to be like. And if the rabbis understood that, why then wouldn't they acknowledge Jesus as Messiah? And if they made it up, then why would they make up something that sounds so much like Jesus? And that was one of David C. Mitchell's points. He does have a book, and I haven't read it. I just didn't listen to some of his stuff online. And I intend to read the book, but it wasn't on Audible, and so whatever. So there's that. So that was Yosef's first question. I guess I'll get to see there it is. It disappeared again, man. So Jacob's response would be, it would be beneficial for you not to try to be so Protestant in the most pejorative way that we use that term. And it's concerned someone who destroys everything. That's lovely. Yeah, I mean, And I will say this. That's why I think maybe Jacob and I are not. I struggle to read the comment even, because it just doesn't seem helpful. Like it's not helping. Like I'm not. Yeah. It would be like me saying, "Try not to be so Jewish," right? Why would you say that? what's the point? What would help you is to not be so much like you. And so, not that I'm terribly Protestant, but I'm probably a pretty bad Protestant. I don't know. That's why I think David and Yosef would be a better pair than me and Jacob, for sure. Yeah, Joseph the vine has one. Okay, so there is that piece of the prophecy, this foretelling. Joseph the vine has to one corresponds to Jesus the vine. Any rabbi who heard Jesus say, "I am the vine, you are the branches," would immediately think of Joseph. Yeah. That's not the Deuteronomy passage, is it? Or let me see. A faithful shoot is Joseph. A faithful shoot in a spring. This is the Genesis 49. Whose branches run over the wall. They attack him and shoot at him. They hated him, the bowmen, but his bow remained steady. His arms in his hands became supple. From thence will come the shepherd rock of Israel, from the God of your father, who shall help you, and from Shaddai, who shall bless you. And then you have the passage about Ephraim and Manasseh is interesting as well. The firstborn of his shore is Joseph's majesty, and the horns of a ram are his horns. And when he shall gore the people all as one. I don't know what translation he's using. He will gore the people all as one. The people. Let me see. Gosh, sorry, I've got dirt on my. Let me see if we can do a little. We can do a little study right here, right now. David Mitchell talks about how there's a transformation from the wild ox. Now I messed up. From the wild ox. Really, so this domestic ox to the wild ox. He will push the people all at once. The people. The people. The people. What people is he talking about? Kin, nations, citizens, nations. And I wish I had more resources. Maybe somebody can help me. Because I could see this being thought of as he's just going to bring Israel back together, right? Or is it the Gentiles and the Jewish people all as one? He will push the peoples all as one or at once to the ends of the earth. And in the podcast, I talked about the fact that, this idea of like collecting all the people from all the earth. I know that's probably a really bad translation. I'm not a I'm not a Bible translator, but that was the image. That's the image. And then it's the 10,000s of Ephraim and the thousands of Manasseh, right? That would be the idea. They would immediately think of Joseph because of Genesis 48 commands the blessing, saying, "May the Lord make you like Ephraim and Manasseh." It's done at the bar mitzvah. Joseph ties his colt to a shorach, choice vine, and the gafing, the normal vine. Oh, interesting. See, that's what really intrigues me about this is like, when I hear the ox imagery, the domesticated ox and the wild ox, I went to the olive branch and the wild olive branch, right? Again, maybe I'm doing a really bad job of being a Bible interpreter, but again, this is for the purpose of conversation and further understanding. So that I'll have to look at that. Joseph ties his colt to I'm gonna have to look at that. So you guys are giving me good stuff to look into. Is it the Jews and the Gentiles together? That would be that's the question that I have. All at once. The peoples are gored all at once. And the horns of the wild ox is, okay, so they are them. So the horns become again, Ephraim, Manasseh, Northern Kingdom, out into the nations are the horns. The crown is when he brings the nations back. I don't know. Interesting, because Jacob had some really somewhat wild things to say about what he believes to be the difference between a Gentile soul and a Jewish soul, which I find maybe worth talking about. The double portion of Ephraim and Manasseh. Yeah, the double portion, the two parts, right? That's the idea. Ephraim and Manasseh, two portions of the blessing. They will need a double portion because it's extended. Ephraim and Manasseh are of mixed race. They are Jew and Gentile, which I don't know what people do with this, but their mom, Joseph's wife, is Egyptian. Her dad was a priest of On. What am I missing here? The Joseph, if Joseph is embodying sort of a prophetic messianic picture, he takes a Gentile bride, and from this Gentile bride, the double portion that Israel gives to Joseph is shared. The double portion is shared. I'm willing to believe that. I'm willing to believe that God is doing something that is global, that his kingdom is a kingdom of every tribe and tongue and nation. He's doing something through Abraham. He's doing something through Joseph. He's doing something through Joshua, but they are ultimately fulfilled in the person of Christ. And so it's bigger than Joshua. It's bigger than Joseph. It's bigger than Abraham, like that's just the way it looks to me, right? Joseph takes this bride, and I just don't hear a lot of people talking about this. Let's go ahead. I guess 5650 is one part that I thought was a little, I don't know, again, maybe worth listening to. You tell me. See if it comes through.
If Michael Brown thinks of himself as a Jew or a Gentile, I care whether halakhically, according to Jewish law, he has that status of being a Jew or Gentile, because I believe there is a qualitative difference between a Jewish soul and a Gentile soul, which people may find offensive. That's their problem, not mine.
But right? So there you go. If you find it offensive, according to Jacob, it's your problem and not his. I don't see it that way. I mean, I can't see it that way. I don't know how that's not racist, like on a level, like on the level of the soul. And I guess maybe before I say that, I need to know exactly what Jacob means by different. Like different how, The younger is above the elder. And yeah, see, this is what's so funny about this. The younger blesses the older. So again, if this is true, like who would be the older? Okay, yeah, maybe you could say, maybe is it helpful to say Judah, the southern kingdom? Is that where is that where Jacob, is Jacob, is his tradition tied more towards Judah and the southern kingdom, Judaism, and is that the older brother per se? And then is the younger brother blessing the older? In the same way that Rahab, and this is in the video, in the same way that Rahab, as the prostitute who would be lesser than the nation, the Israel who's coming to conquer the promised land, right? They just overthrew, they just conquered Egypt. Well, they didn't. God conquered Egypt. So Rahab clearly is in the position of being the lesser than, and yet it's through Rahab that God delivers Jericho into the hands I guess I'm struggling to say Israel into the hands of Israel, because there's a question here of what is Israel. What do the Gentiles have to do with all Israel? A fresh look at Romans 11:25. This is the Jason Staples article that I mentioned in the video. We did not go into it in detail, but I did do the summary from Matt C. Is that what we are seeing in something like Rahab? The prostitute. Now again, this takes me to the book of Revelation. So of course, like as a Christian, I mean, I'm looking for something that's coherent between the Old Testament and the New Testament. I would hope that any of our Jewish friends who would say, yeah, I'm the New Testament, nah, I'm not into it. And again, Jacob, maybe, again, I'll make my case here. Jacob may not be the best interlocutor for this conversation. He will say the New Testament is written in crayon, and he will mock Christians, and he will mock the New Testament and all this other stuff, and get offended very easily, sorry to say, if, you speak up and you don't agree with him. And maybe I don't understand Jacob. That's his point to me is always that I don't understand him, which is fine. Him and I haven't had much interaction, but, when you say things like there's a qualitative difference between one person's soul and another, and if you think that's offensive, that's your problem. I don't know that's the best way to carry on the conversation. So I would once again say maybe we could find another interlocutor to carry on this conversation, because I would hope that we could, and I know Yosef, at least one of the things that he told me was that he was looking into he was reading the book of Revelation, and so it's like, okay, you're actually willing to read that thing. Cool. I'm glad. That's awesome. I really I find that fascinating, that a Jewish man would read the book of Revelation. And in the book of Revelation, there's a whore, the whore of Babylon. But there's also the bride. And I don't know if this is my interpretation exactly, but I wonder if the whore becomes the bride. It is the unfaithful who are then transformed into the bride of Christ, and this video, interestingly enough, is about the Feast of Booths. Should Christians be in booths? Well, of course Christians should be in booths, because we're invited to the marriage supper of the Lamb. That's what the book of Revelation is. And they talk about whether we should be eating pork and stuff like that. We're eating the beast. We're eating Leviathan. We're eating, that's what's served on the table, is the enemy of God. And so I think maybe the dietary laws go out at that point. I don't know. the bride, this Rahab image is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. The prostitute saves Israel. The prostitute is the means by which God allows Israel to enter the promised land. What Moses could not do is given to a Joshua, of course, which is Jesus' Hebrew name. His proper name is Joshua. So what Moses could not do, Joshua had to do. And who does he meet? I mean, the two spies meet Rahab. They meet a prostitute. They meet a pagan bride. She's in the genealogy in Matthew 1. So, is it that the pagan bride is the means through which God rescues Israel? Is it possible that the church, these Gentile Christians, could be part of that? Ephraim and Manasseh are Israel, Jacob said. Yeah. Well, and again, I wonder, again, not all Israel are Israel, is what Paul later writes in Romans. I mean, that's this whole, not this whole essay, but the essay deals with that. It's something I've thought about. I do not want you to be ignorant, brothers. Oh gosh, this is. Okay, this is the verse about the hardening of the heart until the fullness of the Gentiles, the fullness of the nations comes in. Again, is that not the northern? Sorry, that's so hard to see. But I think, is this Matt mentioned that he spent $15. I hope I'm not sharing this link improperly, but there it is. It goes into a lot of detail. I need to read the whole thing and get my act together. But I gotta take this with little bite-sized pieces, right? Okay. What is Israel? That's why I was struggling earlier to make the distinction between Israel and what Jacob is saying, that he says that there's a difference between a Jewish soul and a Gentile soul. I mean, I am kind of, yeah, I'm not offended. I share in the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. So dead people don't get offended. But I'm kind of grossed out by that statement. Yeah, I'm kind of, that's what I would say about that. So who is Israel? Yeah, the Samaritan woman at the well. Warren Gage does a great job, and if you again, go to this video, help me out with some likes. I don't know if it counts if I actually like my own video, but help me out there. I did leave links. I left the link to the Staples article, the Revelation Project that Warren Gage did, and his study in Revelation. I want him to do more in the book of Revelation. He just deals with chapters 21 and 22, and I think he does a great job. And again, I studied at Knox, where Warren Gage taught the Christian and Classical Studies program. So that's where I took classes from him. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, therefore their blessings all work together. Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I mean, I don't see it as different. I see it as one continuous fulfillment of the promise. I don't think we live in these different sort of sections of time or whatever. Then this is Revelation 19:6, talking about the bride. And the marriage supper. I heard something like a voice of a great multitude, and like the sound of many waters, like the sound of mighty peals of thunder, saying, Hallelujah, for the Lord our God mighty reigns. Let us rejoice and be glad and give glory to him. Give glory to him, for the marriage of the Lamb has come, and his bride has made herself ready. She's been made ready. It was given to her to clothe herself in fine linen, bright and clean. For fine linen is the righteous acts of the saints. Then he said to me, Write, blessed are those who are invited to the marriage supper of the Lamb. Are you invited? Are you invited? Don't miss it. I fell at his feet and I worship him. I love this. I'm doing a series on Revelation for our students, and we're actually in a previous section. We're actually in Revelation chapter 6. You know, the Armageddon begins, right? The seals start to get opened, and plagues eventually get poured out, right? The four horsemen of the apocalypse are unleashed. And what do the people of God do? They worship. And so what is judgment for some is salvation for others. Those who believe, it is their salvation. For those who don't, it is judgment. And that's the story of Rahab. When she hears the trumpets outside of Jericho, she knows her salvation is coming. But everybody else in Jericho that's not behind her door, it's not in her household, interestingly enough, they hear the horns of judgment. It is judgment for Jericho. But for Rahab, it is salvation. The whorish bride, the prostitute, is redeemed. She is brought into the family. She is married. And she ends up being part of the lineage of Jesus. It's pretty powerful. I mean, obviously, there are those who might mock and whatever, whatever with that. But Hebrews 4, yeah, the Holy Spirit is the rest, and I think that's the promise, right? The Holy Spirit, the Spirit of the church, the Holy Spirit creates the church. The Spirit of God embodies believers, creates the church, and that's what you see in the beginning of Revelation. First, we see a lampstand, no fire. It's just an object. And then it's lit. That's Acts chapter 2. The fire comes and then creates the church. Echoes of the plagues of Egypt. Yep. It is a retell. Now, one of the things that Yosef was talking to me about, and again, I'll try to get to his comments. Maybe not in this live stream, but I don't know. Maybe I'll do something following up on this. Is that Revelation is essentially a commentary on Daniel 7. Maybe it's Daniel 7. I see that what Dr. Gage points out, and it makes sense to me. What he points out is that it's Revelation and the book of Joshua. Really, there are a lot of echoes there. But what then happens is it's almost like John is using Joshua as the scaffolding, and then he's fitting in he just pours in all kinds of stuff. So Exodus comes in, and we get commentary on Genesis and Exodus and Daniel and Ezekiel. It's just like it's there's a lot there, and again, this is part of my own study. So you're here with me and actually helping me a lot to learn about this stuff, and I appreciate it. So echoes of Exodus and the plagues, really interesting. One of the fact that the scroll, the fact that the scroll is written inside and out I know seems like a crazy detail, but one commentary written on, now book is probably, I would say is maybe a bad translation, again, studying, but it's written on the inside and on the back. Now, the idea would be that if you had two parts of a covenant, two parts of an agreement, you could write one part of the agreement, and then you would leave a space in the parchment, and then write the other side. So again, think 10 commandments. There's two tablets, right? And so there's two parts to this agreement between God and his people. And yet, they're one, right? It's not like, and I don't think there's, 5 written on one and 5 written on it's 10 written on one tablet, 10 written on the other. And both tablets both parts of that contract live with God's people. And so it's interesting that the scroll then described in Revelation has writing written on the inside and the outside. What could have happened, one commentary said, is that if you were writing a contract, you would write two parts of the contract, roll it up, so you could read the outer part without breaking the seal. So you could read what was written in the contract without breaking the seal of the contract to read what was written on the inside. So again, two parts of the contract dwelling together. Thought that was kind of interesting, but definitely just echoes all over the book of Revelation. In my mind, as I'm sort of continuing to learn about it, almost seems like a commentary on all of the Old Testament. Now, of course, I said the word Old Testament, which hopefully isn't offensive. I don't mean old as in bad. I just mean old as in I have a New Testament, and so the one that came before it is older. And being a fan of classical studies, actually, the older is better. The old wine is actually more precious. And so Revelation is great, but it's beautiful on a level because it helps me understand the rest of Scripture. I'll say it that way. Yeah, the 7-branch menorah in the holy place. Yep, exactly. It's temple imagery, and then he's standing in front of the lampstand, and then he looks, and it says there was a door that opened. So he's looking into the Holy of Holies, and then there's God sitting on his throne. And that's what's in the Holy of Holies, right? So yeah, really, like, and I've talked about this before, but it's like that Mandelbrot fractal pattern. It's like keeps zooming in and zooming in and zooming in. Yeah. So again, in my notes, I just wrote likes, dislikes, and yikes. So yeah, once again, just a little plug to give it to give the video some love. That is, if you like it. If you didn't, leave me a comment. Let me know why you didn't. A little bit more here from David and Jacob. I thought this was interesting. At 4:15, and this will give me a little bit of a break. We'll just play it from here. Let me recover my breath a little bit.
Disagreements about various things, but yeah, it's kind of funny with Pete coming into the discussion. It really feels like he's 4 or 5 years behind the discussion that a lot of us have been having in this little corner, or Jordan Peterson sphere, or however you want to talk about it. And so you went on his channel and you were talking about things, and
sorry, this is, these conversations that we have online are not like conversations in real life. You can't really pause people in real life like that. So sorry to cut you off, Jacob. Here's what I think is actually really helpful. I think he's right. And that was kind of Matt C's point in his thread, which was, this is a conversation that has gone on kind of in and around this little corner. Paul Vanderklay, Jacob, David, other people. And I am behind. But here's what's cool. And shout out to Christian Baxter. He says that 3-hour conversations are changing the world. This is, in fact, a 3-hour and 5-minute conversation. And what is happening is, although I might be 4 or 5 years behind this conversation, what they have done by putting these conversations online is it's like a compression engine. What took 3 or 4 years or 4 or 5 years to develop through natural conversation has now been distilled by those conversations into content like this, where then I can consume it, you can consume it, and we then get kind of the distilled version. And so we get caught up in 4 or 5 months of a conversation that has been going on for 4 or 5 years. That's a theory. I don't have any data to back it up, but that's what it seems like. It seems like we are actually helping each other kind of by participating in this process, by sharing comments, by hopping on live streams and stuff like that, is then the conversation gets distilled down so that, I can listen to this 3 hours and probably get a good sense of where David and Jacob are coming from. And so I just want to say, I think we need to keep going. I think we need to continue to have these conversations. What does Jacob call it? Anyway, good faith conversations, but I don't remember what his verbiage was around the idea of good faith conversations. Now, again, maybe I think, Yosef, I would encourage you, if you're listening, or someone else maybe, to jump in, and Yosef is on Jacob's channel a lot, and I think on Paul, or anybody else. I just think that, I think that we would benefit more from more voices, and helping to distill a lot of this experience down into a form that is maybe not easier to consume, but allows people to sort of catch up in a shorter amount of time, and then participate on a better level. So yeah, I think he's right. I think and if I am 4 or 5 years behind, what it is I still come with a slightly different perspective, and so rather than maybe rehashing stuff, the conversation slightly changes, and maybe if you've been around this little corner, maybe you've been around Jacob or Paul or Friday Morning Nameless or any of those channels a lot, maybe you feel like some of the conversation is being sort of rehashed a lot, but every time somebody joins that conversation, it changes slightly, and because they add a unique part to the conversation. The menorah is a symbolic representation of pi. If you like cool math stuff. Oh man, I'm so bad at math. I'm like so bad. Okay. I'm realizing that this is set way over. So when I'm reading chat, I'm looking way over here. But when I'm watching my videos, I'm looking way over here. And I got to figure this out. Shake like half a circle. 22 oil bowls divided by 7 branches. 22 divided by 7 equals 3.14. I mean, again, going back to the fractal pattern, it's like there's all kinds of stuff. It's like you can double click on any, and I see that a lot in the book of Revelation. And so, okay, so 28:38, I thought David had an interesting thought here about what it means to provoke to jealousy. Do I have that passage? Just for the sake of context, I think it's Romans 11. Yeah, I'll look at it afterwards. 14. Move to jealousy. You who are Gentiles, inasmuch as I am an apostle to the Gentiles, I magnify my ministry, if somehow I might move to jealousy my fellow countrymen, to save some of them. If their rejection is reconciliation of the world, what will their acceptance be but life from the dead? The first piece of dough is holy, the lump is also holy. So working that, you get the idea.
And so I think that as the church expands, that part of this is something I've been thinking about. Like Jacob, you are very defensive about your traditions in a good way. And what I mean is, on one of the first conversations we had, we began it because I said something incorrect about Passover, and you corrected me on it.
Okay.
Because you are jealous for the traditions in like a protective, good way. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I think that is like the Christians always interpret that we make the Jews jealous because we have correct interpretation. What if we're actually making them jealous because we're becoming so excited about Deuteronomy but
But
you
you
know,
say
we
so many things. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
just to clarify for Garth and
All right. So again, sorry if it's annoying to cut people off midstream, but you get the idea. I thought David's answer there was pretty interesting. And again, it's the younger blessing the older theme we talked about already. I need to get my other headphones out, but I forgot. The younger will bless the older, and I wonder if, like, the irony would be that Jacob and others would be so would be so fixated and passionate and obsessed with getting it right that they get it wrong, right? And that the Christians are showing up with like this unsophisticated kind of like way about them that it's like, no, guys, you're not getting it. You're not getting it. And so the sort of the Christian approach errs in one direction, the Jewish approach errs in the other direction, and in the middle is Jesus, right? And again, do we have a view of him that is worthy of him? Certainly, some have rejected him. They don't believe that he's the Messiah. But even Christians who believe that he's the Messiah, what do we believe about that? Do we see the whole picture? And that's kind of like, I don't know if I really want to comment on it, but the one comment that I did see is this whole idea of the why did God create Mormons? Why did I not? Gosh, I can't even see the whole thing. What's going on? Mom, help. Anyway, why did God create Mormons? So that Christians understand what Jews feel. Why am I not seeing the whole thing? Anyway, probably because I'm not supposed to see the whole thing. And I can understand what Jacob is saying with that. And the irony, my comment at the bottom of that would be the irony is that the Mormons actually get it right. I don't believe that, but I think somewhere in the middle, Jesus is saying, come on, guys, keep going, keep talking, keep learning. And this goes back to a podcast from a little while ago. It was the Rogan and Tim Mackey and the alien technology of the Bible. Because I do see that the Bible story in particular is a compression engine. It's like you can condense a lot of knowledge into story, and the book of Revelation, I think, is an example of that. And to Tim's point, because Sam, I think, rightly pressed on this issue, which is that progressive revelation, this idea that we're getting sort of new revelation. And Tim pushed back on it and said, it's not really, because we're not getting any new, we're not putting any new sources into the canon, but as we continue to read it, and as we continue to think on it, and as we continue to discuss it, I think we understand it more and more. And one of the reasons why I feel like I can kind of hang out within the Reformed tradition, even though I don't feel like I'm a very good sort of representative of Reformed theology. Maybe I'm not a particularly good Calvinist and what have you, but is the idea that we are reformed and always reforming. I think that allows me to hang out with the Reformed tradition if I have permission to be wrong about something and change my idea, because we're talking about God here. I have a finite brain, and even though I have the Word of God in front of me, I'm gonna come at it with my own presuppositions that are gonna get in my way. Now, to sort of Jacob's point, and maybe my encouragement would be, I appreciate how David said this. I appreciate that David is encouraging Jacob, but where tradition gets in the way of divine revelation, of course, tradition needs to be adjusted. Like if we come to find out, hey guys, we got it wrong, don't persist in a tradition that is leading you astray. So that would be my only encouragement, is that obviously divine revelation goes above the tradition. And that's why I'm glad that Yosef is here, and he's talking about how David Mitchell maybe overstates the frequency and the rage at which the Messiah ben Yosef appears in the rabbinic tradition. So there you go. We can't allow, because then we'll miss it. We'll miss something beautiful. And listen to this, because we've already kind of talked about the bride. I thought this was good. 42:49. Yeah, that's close enough. That's close enough. Let me know what you think about this. Yeah, the fractal pattern factoring. Is that what you're talking about?
For example, the fulfillment of Zechariah. So, do you believe that, Christians will be observing the Festival of Booths when Jesus comes back?
Yeah, it says it. It says it
that
in
part,
the Greek. It is
okay.
not translated into English, but it says that he's coming to tabernacle with his people.
Okay. So.
Well, and he's like we already read Revelation 19, right? He's coming to tabernacle with his people. He is the bridegroom coming to the marriage feast. He's coming to meet his bride. And again, forgive me for being, ignorant about this. I mean, isn't the Feast of Booths kind of a marriage ceremony? Isn't it kind of? It's a celebration. It's a rejoice. It's something to rejoice about. And it, David brought this up in our podcast. What does it follow? Does it follow Yom Kippur? Because that's something not to be missed. Thoughts. He comes to tabernacle. Yeah, should we be keeping kosher? Should we be keeping the dietary laws? I don't know, because the Leviathan is served up on the table. The beast is served for dinner. Should we be keeping the Feast of Booths? I don't know. We're literally at the Feast of Booths. We're literally at the marriage. Yeah. So to James's point, he says, I like the way you think. Scripture is not designed to be systematic theology. This is why I'm not a very good Reformed theologian. This is why maybe I'm not a very, I appreciate systematic theology for what it gives us, but my approach is more biblical theology. I really want to hear the story, and I think sometimes when we do systematic theology, we lose the story. We start debating over, how many people wrote Isaiah. It's like we debate over is it the school of Isaiah? Is it one Isaiah? Is it, and it's like, and so we debate over it ad infinitum until we've lost Isaiah. Like, we're not even reading Isaiah anymore. We're not even reading the Bible anymore. Now, is that beneficial on some level? I think it is, but I don't want to emphasize it over something else. Kind of like the theme of this podcast, I don't necessarily want to emphasize the Messiah, son of David, over the Messiah ben Yosef. If it's there, I want to know it. I want to see it. And if it's possible that Jesus, this man, Jesus, is both, then I definitely want to see that. I definitely don't want to miss that. Now, when he comes again, I don't think we're going to miss it, but that's just me. Okay, so we already said my last note on this video was the Jewish soul and Gentile soul thing, and we already touched on that. But I love, Jacob and David are touching on some of the themes that I wanted to touch on, so that's great. I only listened to, I think, the first 50 minutes of it so far, so I'll go back and listen to the rest. But again, the marriage celebration, being provoked to jealousy, how do we bring these nations together? How do we learn from one another? And again, I think I will just invite Yosef and others, and Yosef, maybe if you have another recommendation, I would love to see this type of conversation that David and Jacob had with maybe two other people. Maybe it's Yosef, maybe it's Hezi, maybe it's, I don't know who else would be a good. Maybe we could get Michael. Sorry, Michael. Is it Satori? Who else could be a good interlocutor, a good conversation partner? I think eventually Jacob and I would love to talk with Jacob more. But again, I will preface that by saying I don't know that we're the best to talk about this. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe maybe the Lord will do a work in my heart, in Jacob's heart. But I think we're probably too much like each other. That's the problem. Is the people that tend to provoke you, and I appreciate. And I think I even said this. I appreciate the provocative interaction, and I think that there's a point to that, and there's a good point for it. But then eventually we need to move on to productive and meaningful conversation, and I can just speak from experience in that Matsi and Yosef have been two people that I feel like I've had productive conversation with. David as well. I'm sure there are others that I would love to talk to again about this and continue the conversation. I have got to. I don't know where I will go tomorrow. I'm gonna record. I'm gonna record another podcast. It will be in a different vein as this. I really am. What was it? I think. Oh, it was the Tucker. It was the Tucker Russel Brand interview that got me. And I said this on the last live stream, so I have not delivered. That I said I was gonna make this video, but I think I might do that just to give me a little, Jordan Peterson. I don't know, a little. What's the word? I don't know. Get me into a different headspace. I thought there was some interesting stuff here, as it pertains to awakening and revival. So I might make a shorter video. It won't be a long form video. And then, gosh, I can't remember the other one that's on my list, but it'd be interesting. I like where Russel Brand has been going on his journey, so I'm gonna follow that. Actually, I'll do one little plug again. I saw that Sean Ryan looked like he was gonna have another interview with the guy from Skinwalker Ranch, and he hasn't posted it yet. But I did a video a while ago, and it's funny. Every once in a while, it pops up. It's called The Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch. Where the heck is this video? Anyway, I probably scrolled past it because I'm smart like that. Anyway, Secrets. Gosh, did I make it? I must have made it a long time ago then. Holy mackerel. No, it's not that old. That's the beginning. That's the beginning of the podcast, Pete. Anyway, I wanted to do a follow-up on that with some thoughts. Dude, why am I not... Is my brain broken? I'm not seeing things. I'm not seeing reality the way it really is these days. Help me. Where did it go? It's like literally not on my channel. It's like not here. Hold on. Now we're going to investigate. Why was I not seeing it? Help me. You guys know. You probably saw it. Anyway, Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch. It looked like Sean Ryan was going to have another interview. I don't know if he ever did. I was going to post this video with... Let's see. You know, the conversation... Oh, I do. Anyway, this is kind of behind the members only section because we were talking about... it's hard to talk about other people's faith. I guess maybe I was doing that a little bit tonight, but I wanted to see if that's kind of in the members section for that reason. I wasn't sure how to navigate a conversation around around Mormonism, but it would be interesting to tie Mormonism into some of this conversation. So we'll see. maybe going off of Jacob's comment about Christians know what Jews feel like because of the Mormon Church, but we'll see. We'll see. Thanks for hanging out. I think I am gonna shut things down, and thank you all for being with me. I don't have any I don't have an outro. I should have had an outro prepared, but I don't. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for your comments. Thanks for engaging. James, Emily, it was good hanging out. Everybody else, hope you have a great night. And because I have a delay, I'm going to chill and talk to myself for a second.